Okay, so here we are starting the Battle of Stonewall. Now, I didn't go into enough in the historical aspects of the battle itself. Why this links in sort of during the 7 Days campaign. I think this is actually happening maybe a little before it. But because the only real Civil War battle I've done on video is the 7 Days campaign, this is causing some of the shifting of troops and preventing McClellan from getting everything that he would have wanted down there. In fact, McDowell's division essentially was not committed to the 7 Days campaign because of this. Anyway, what we're seeing is the Confederates are going to be faced with a couple of choices here. A lot of choices, really. One is, and I usually actually take this one, move across and try to engage the Union over here. Get it to a straight out battle. The historical choice is actually to move up to Sandy Ridge. Tyler's brigade ends up coming down and defending down in here. To me, this looks like just no reason for it. What are the Confederates threatening of value by heading this way? All the points in the field are here, right? The other points are fighting. Getting bogged down, and then the final points are getting off the map. Getting bogged down in fighting over here is not going to help your situation. Of course, the problem is, if you go engage here with an all-out fight, well, the Union can bring Kimball's brigade into play and hit you from the rear, or Tyler coming down. So what I'm looking at is a shift over this way, as if I'm going for the Sandy Ridge, but try to outflank Pritchard's Hill and hit it from behind. Keeping the cavalry out of the fight as much as possible. Not maybe sending them up this way as a diversion, but they're really too valuable to let the Union attack. Anyway, I'll start bringing some of the Confederates on board, and we'll see what happens. So in following that theory, I've got most of the Confederate units basically down to here, in column, pushing this way, trying to get across to the road here and move back this way. All right, well, here's the thing. The Union, in many games, in, say, the Gamers games or whatever, would probably be taking some pot shots here, but I don't have a lot of artillery fire available. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hexes away at in-column units. That's what's interesting here. So 7 hexes away with nappies, that's going to be a ×1. I could get 4 strength points of fire. That doesn't do much. If artillery is firing against infantry, it pins. So the best I can do is get a pin. Now, I am going to be firing at column formation, so I get a column to the right there. It's just not worth it, though. The best I can do is roll a 5 and cause 1 casualty. I'm not willing to expend ammo to do that. And that's the problem with this scenario. Even though the Union have this commanding ground with the artillery positioned in it. Oh, I'm sorry, that's an N6. Hold on. That may be better. A 6 with a shift, that's nice. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So that's the... what is that? That's the U... 10th. Let's see what we got here. Must be an L, not a U. My poor eyes. Yeah. So that's going to fire, and I need to find a die. Yeah, I know, I got some up there. Alright. I'll grab one of these for now, but I gotta get smaller dice for a moment. Okay, so this is going to be plinking down on these in-column infantry. We're on the 6 table because of the big guns, and we get to shift over. So basically anything 3 or higher does something. I get a 4, I cause a casualty, which is pretty good, to the 1st Brigade. And what I'm going to do to mark that, I've got a mark 1 here Unfortunately, I don't have a pencil here either, so I'll be grabbing a few things. But I put a casualty marker underneath to indicate that these guys have taken one. Now, I don't know if those should be going in the other direction, if they're strength point markers or casualty markers. I think they're strength point markers. That's how I remember the game feeling. So he's taken that. Now he also has to make a morale check. He's an A morale though, so only on a 6 is anything going to happen, and it doesn't happen. Now let's take a look at the other artillery piece. Can it hit anything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. It could do counter battery fire. You know what's bugging me here? I thought artillery versus infantry has a reduction. Let me take a moment, look that up, grab the things I need to play. Yeah, so artillery firing on infantry have their strength halved. I don't want to make that shot a halved. It's not worth it. This is a problem with this scenario, with this game, with this battle. These are shots that I'd be taking in TSS, but because of the combat chart in this game, they're just not very good. So I'm going to undo that shot, ammo and all, and just not fire it off. It's one of the problems with this particular game, though. Okay, so can I get combined fire? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. So I could combine fire on these suckers, but here's the problem. I'm at 8 hexes there. That's the overshoot range. And let's make sure it's not greater than 8 hexes. 8 or more hexes. So I do not want to shoot there because the chance of me actually getting the combined fire is too low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that shot back and just undo it. So now we're on the Union turn. And here's the problem for them. They get 10 morale points right off. But what are they going to do? What can they activate? It's really tough because they don't want to come down off Pritchard's Hill. These guys, well, they could certainly shift a brigade over and cause some issues to the rear guard there. That's definitely a thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The range on my rifles, I bet it's quite a bit actually. It's about 3 hexes effective. So I would be able to play out here. Now, what does that mean though? What's a 5 on the table going to look like? A 5 on the combat table isn't likely to do damage. Do I want to commit shifting a brigade over? Well, or do I need to save up my points to move Tyler? And I think I need Tyler more than I need to sort of harass here. So what the Union's going to do, they're going to pass. They're going to hold their 40 points. And we move up to the 220 turn. There's something I really don't like is the 24-hour military clock on this game. Yeah, I get it, but that's one thing that I feel the gamers did a better job of, is to put the historically flavored normal time in place there rather than the military flavor time. Whatever. Alright, so that's the end of the first turn. I'll be coming back as the Confederates continue to try to outflank Kimball's position up there. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of the second turn. The Confederates have kind of moved their column of infantry for that proposed attack on the flank of Pritchard's Hill. The Cav have moved out ahead to kind of protect maybe the artillery that's moving. One interesting thing to note here, artillery in this game, for whatever reason, don't see much advantage. And see if we can get this in here. Here's the artillery column over here. They get an advantage off the pike, but they get no real advantage off a road or trail, which I guess makes sense, compared to clear. Now, I would think that a road is more likely to be leveled and easy for even normal artillery to be able to move on using wheeled transport, rather than just over land. Actually, I would think it would be almost necessary for large-scale movements, but at speed that's greater than what infantry can travel at. You're always hearing of the artillery delaying things, though, and I guess they're trying to prevent any really rapid transportation of artillery. I really don't know. I don't know why the artillery is so much treated the way it is in this system. But anyway, you end up taking the artillery off the road because it serves no purpose, and making less traffic jams and the like, and it just doesn't feel very realistic because of that. That's always been kind of a complaint I had about TSS in particular. Okay, and I've left behind this big 2nd Brigade, in part to kind of screen in case the Union wants to get uppity and start sliding that over. Well, I've still got something here, so they're not going to be able to get any kind of huge advantage by sliding over at this point, but also because I plan on having them follow up across the stream back here, where the 3rd is kind of set up to go too. They've dropped out of column, and then advance across the river and position themselves here at this stream in order to make an attack, so that Pritchard's Hill can be attacked from 2 different directions. This is really beginning to look like I have to bring Tyler in, though, for the Union. And indeed, it's going to be the Union's turn. So they're going to get their 10 additional morale. And at this point, I could just bring Tyler in. He's only 20 points. I wouldn't drop below 30. Not doing so is probably a mistake, because these guys aren't going to be able to chase and catch up to the Confederates here. And Pritchard's is too much in danger. So I think I have to activate Tyler at this point and drop myself down to where if I take a loss, I've got problems. Now, of course, I do get the points next turn, so I'll be okay because I won't be fighting this round. Oops, I forgot to move those down. It's the beginning of the next turn. And I pulled Tyler out of reserve. So we're down to 30 again, and he's shot across. We see the artillery and the supply wagons leaving the road because that's more convenient for them. Sent a couple of infantry down, remaining in column this way, and a couple up this way. Tyler's forces aren't terribly good. They're not where I want the brunt of the fighting to be, actually. I would much rather be hitting Kimball's stuff as the Union, but I need the extra force. I need to move them into position. I need to get something on this side of Pritchard's Hill, and perhaps up here, to help defend the that I've taken already. I'm going to be, when you get 10 points a round, you really can only move 1 brigade a turn, unless you can save up and not move sometimes, because casualties that you take are also going to subtract from that, and you need to kind of build up a reserve before you can ever move 2. These guys, well, they're kind of being left out of the battle now. The Confederates are just pulling away from them, and they're being made somewhat inconsequential at this point. I'll be able to throw them in, perhaps, eventually. All right, this one's going up, and should be fun.